everybody, welcome to another episode of Friends Talking Nerdy. This is Tim Jousma, and with me I have the greatest legal mind in the Pacific Northwest. I have Professor Aubrey.
Hi everybody, how you doing?
All right. Initially, we had planned to have watch-along audio to the movie Lifeforce. That is not going to happen today.
Oh no!
You're so sad, aren't you?
I am, actually. I'm really, really sad because I sat through Lifeforce and I made several erudite and cogent comments that the audience would have enjoyed had they had the opportunity to listen to the watch along. But tragically, what happened, Tim?
Well, it's the situation is this. Like we mentioned on our bonus episode, but the thing is with the bonus episode, since we added music on that, people can only listen to that if they heard it on Spotify. We have switched our podcast host from Simplecast to Anchor. Now, for you on the listening end, that is going to mean absolutely nothing. What it is going to mean for us, however, is something different. The pros include being able to record remotely, directly off our phones. We can edit the show directly on our phones and upload it directly from there. We also have the ability with Anchor, as folks that did hear our bonus episode will tell you, of being able to add official music to the show to where the band will still get royalties. Now, those shows, like our upcoming Date Night Double show, are going to be Spotify exclusives, and that's fine, because in that we're going to be able to do some deep dives on some albums we're going to be talking about, and we'll actually be able to play you some of the tracks, which I think when we discuss music is going to be great.
So it's really when they're going to be Spotify exclusive, we're really going to make use of the Spotify connection with Anchor. So those episodes will have that added content of having the music. We'll talk about the music and we'll be able to listen to some of the music, and that'll be really exciting.
Yes, especially exciting because we are, with the Date Night Double, are going to be trying to focus on lesser known bands that still are making a good living at doing what they're doing. But, Black Sabbath, the Rolling Stones, they don't need us, promoting their music. I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, and to be honest, they probably don't need us analyzing their music either. There are probably lots of smarter people who've done that.
It's not even smarter people per se. It's just, at the end of the day, for, the Rolling Stones, they've been around for over 50 years now, and everybody and their mother has made a comment about them, including us, for 2 episodes. So, it's we're not knocking, talking about older bands, but especially with the pandemic going on, we realize that with the smaller bands, every little bit counts, because not every musician that you hear on the radio lives in a mansion and has millions upon millions of dollars. It is very much a business, and there are people like friends of the show, Jomo and the Possum Posse, who are very much working musicians. I don't know if they have regular day jobs. I don't know them that well, but they certainly tour on a regular basis, and still doing what they can. They have a Patreon, for example, so they're definitely hustling to make money. But it's exposure exposure for a band like that is going to be a good thing too, because especially with Jomo and the Possum Posse, we are going to be talking about them. We want to be able to get some ears on that, because again, lots of people know about the Rolling Stones, but for our bands next week, you might not have heard about the band Pears. You might not have heard about the band Bad Cop. So it's a way to kind of open some ears for us to get some perspective.
The other thing that we are going to be able to do, because we'll be able to record mobily on our phones, we can also branch out to other kinds of cultural events like burlesque and fire dancing and all kinds of cool things that happen around, and get reaction to those kind of cool events as well.
Once I learn how to use a microphone properly on a mobile device with the Anchor
gosh,
app.
So that just brings us full circle, Tim, back to the story of what happened to the Lifeforce recording.
Yes, instead of taking my computer and plopping it in front of the TV and recording the episode with Audacity, I wanted to try out the new Anchor app on my tablet. So I have a separate microphone that plugs into a standard 3.5 jack. I happened to plug it into the headphone jack on my tablet, and it recorded the audio, but the audio was with the built-in microphone on the tablet itself and just the audio. Folks that are longtime listeners will probably laugh, but it very much sounded like probably some of the earlier episodes back in our archives. Just like massive echoes, and some of it was unintelligible just because we were further away from the microphone. So it's not that our sound like right now is the absolute crisp cleared. It's not like it's like an NPR show, but this is better.
Ding ding ding.
All things considered is brought to you by So long story short, we did watch Lifeforce. We swear we have
the scars to prove it.
Yes, but we're not going to watch it again. We're just going to say, yeah.
We're going to put exactly as much effort into watching that movie that they put into making it.
Yeah. I mean, and
I
also,
feel like I'm already there.
Yeah. And also, too, it's not like it wasn't through controversial means that we had to watch that movie in the first place. So
you don't say.
Yeah, so I'm not exactly, inclined to want to watch it again. So thank you, Texas. Fuck you. Bye. Anyway, I'll say this about Lifeforce. It's a typical Cannon movie. If you've watched any film from Cannon Studios in the 80s, any film at all, you know what you're going to get. And, when you have a director like Tobe Hooper, when you have a special effects person like John Dykstra involved, when you have actors like Patrick Stewart of all things, you will find some gems in this film. Even if, like Patrick Stewart, for instance, got it. Like mentioning like a line like that would be naughty or something like that. I guess he was one of the few actors that really understood the piece, which gives me further appreciation for him. I mean, he's a classically trained actor, thespian, but he loves genre, and I highly respect that. And the music was done by Henry Mancini. There's a lot of good in this film. There is some wheat among the chaff. Well, there's a lot of chaff.
Well, you're right. I think one comment that we made repeatedly while we were watching the movie was this movie isn't really bad enough to be a B movie. The effects weren't great, but they also weren't laughable, right? We didn't have exploding heads, and
it was still a serviceable movie compared to something like a trauma movie of that time. Like compared to like The Toxic Avenger, that was more splatterish, campy, and whereas this was just they should have put more money into it, and I think that's the big fault of this. It's that it's in order for this to work, it should have had a lot more money and a fourth or fifth draft on the script.
Yeah.
And a lot less ogling of young 18-year-old naked women. That was uncomfortable.
Yes, other things we learned were how poorly treated that actress was in real life, and so that made it kind of hard to watch as well.
Yeah, and that's another reason I don't want to watch it again, just because it's like they say she had her birthday, she was 18, and then you had stories in the trivia of Tobe Hooper saying that he had to inspect her pubic hair. He just had to, because it was super important, of course. And things like her first day on the set, all of a sudden, like carpenters and like the crew found reasons to be on set that day, and just it just was gross. I mean, just...
Yeah, it sounded like they did not take very good care of her at all.
No, and so the less said about that, the better. Freddie Got Fingered would have definitely been a much better choice, and if the people of Texas actually had some brain comprehension, we'd be talking about that movie now, wouldn't we? But no, they had to say Bowling for Fucking Soup is Texas's greatest band. I mean, that's the whole point here about all of this. It's like if Bowling for Soup and Drowning Pool were not on that list, and she had some Stevie Ray Vaughan, she had Buddy
Townes
Holly,
Van Zandt,
Waylon Jennings on there
Buddy
instead,
Guy.
I would take my loss with a smile on my face because I at least know the A game was brought. But when Bowling for Fucking Soup is presented as the absolute best that Texas has to offer, and people in Texas actually vote for that without following the damn rules, it's controversial. Let's put it that way. But good win, Tracy.
Boy, this is just going to go on and on until the next competition of sorts.
The Battle for State Supremacy 3 is going to settle the bet on who is the best. And it would be me. Anyway. But at the end of the day, with the Lifeforce recording, it was an experiment that didn't go well, and it happens in podcasting. It's I do pride myself on over 3 years of podcasting. I got like only literally a handful of lost episodes. We've been able to have most of our material hit the air for good or bad, but yeah, it's because it's like, what's the point of a lost episode? It's like, I would much rather put something out that just put something out. I don't get, because I guess there are podcasters that do have like tons and tons of lost episodes.
Well, I think it can really depend on the personality of the podcaster, and I could definitely see myself feeling, pretty self-critical about something that I produced. I am a producer on this show, and of course I'm proud of this show, but I would feel more nervous about that if it was kind of just me. If it was me in charge of it, I definitely could feel insecure.
We are getting a visitor just passing us here at the Friends Talking Nerdy Studios. You probably did not hear that, but that was Sherman the cat, who just walked on the table here and walked past the microphone. Like, what's up?
Little cameo for Sherman.
Yeah, he's next to Uji the bear at the window. Do you want to tell folks about the name Uji?
Well, Tim and I sometimes like to play games, board games, but we like to do it on the video game system because then we don't have to set up the board games and such.
Or figure out points and all that other stuff.
Yeah, so we just make the robot do it for us, and we play things like Scrabble and Monopoly and Jeopardy and just lots of fun games. And so we were playing Scrabble one night, and I really wanted to make this. I'm sure it was like a triple letter score, and there was very little room left on the board, and it was between two words, and essentially ended up being two words, either U-J-E, Uji, or J-No.
Jano.
Or Jano.
Yeah, Uji.
Depending on where you're from. Could be Jano, could be J-No.
Yeah, Uji, we determined was the sound a Swedish woman makes when she orgasms. Mm-hmm. Uji! And Jano would be...
Not that we have anything against Swedish women orgasms or Swedish women's orgasms.
We love it. Bring them on. Bring it on. Jano didn't we make a joke about anal sex there? I don't know. Jano. Jano. Does it go there, Jano? So yeah, that's where the name Uji came from. So Uji the bear is actually my daughter's old teddy bear. In 2 days, she's going to be 18. 2 days as we record this.
Wow, that's a big milestone.
Yeah. I have 3 kids. My oldest is technically my stepson, but I don't like that term. Because like if you're gonna be a parent, you're either all in or you're not. You don't play the whole step thing, because then that leads into a whole other mess that doesn't need to be, kids shouldn't have to deal with. But my daughter is my first biological kid, and being there she was born with a C-section, and I actually got to be there in the operating room, see it happen.
Wow.
Yeah, the doctor was a jack-off. And, as made clear on this podcast, I'm not a fan of my ex-wife, but this is horrific what he did to her.
Oh,
and
no.
I'm going to tell you, and you're going to, it's like, I'm going to tell you, and you're going to react like I would if a guy talked about getting kicked in the balls repeatedly.
Right.
He gave her a 12-inch incision in her abdomen. Way too big. And it basically, it led to her almost losing her life because of how bad he messed up. But she didn't die. And my daughter was born, and apparently the nurses took bets as to whether I would faint or something like that.
Oh.
But they didn't reckon on my years of watching USA's Up All Night and watching Freddy Krueger marathons on the USA Network on the weekends. So. Yeah, so it was
Freddy Krueger that allowed you to witness the birth of
my daughter. Yeah,
your daughter.
Yep, and it was weird. Like they had it open, and like the guts were there, and yet I guess during the C-section she had to. They anesthetized her, but she wasn't out.
Yeah.
She had to be up and be able to respond. And so it was weird, just talking to somebody who has their guts open and people are reaching in.
Right, but they have like a nerve
talk.
block. They have like an epidural where they can't feel anything.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they feel like some jostling or something, but it's just, yeah.
Okay, do we have to talk about this anymore?
Okay, well, your reaction is probably the reaction that the people at the 1 Hour Photo Place had when I bought the photos I took to get developed.
Did you get them?
I did, and one will be on Facebook. That's in the memories of the splattered mess that she was after she was born.
Aww.
But yeah, so 18 years ago. On the 29th, my daughter, Ashley Renee Jousma, was born. And, couldn't be more proud.
That's awesome.
Yeah. She's stubborn like her old man. So, she probably won't listen to this, but if she does, I love you, Ashley. I love you so much. And happy birthday.
That's so awesome.
Yep. Well, we had some good news this week as well. As we've discussed on the show before, we're big fans of Jomo and the Possum Posse.
Yes.
Yes, I actually introduced the professor to them via Guy on a Buffalo.
That's right, Guy on the Buffalo. And we had such a great time watching those Guy on a Buffalo videos.
That we just had to review the album. Episode 99, we reviewed Take a Number, Satan. And that's where we did a deep dive on their latest album. But as we mentioned a couple weeks back, they released a new single from an EP they're coming out with soon. And the song is called Self-Quarantine. And tell the folks what you think about that song.
I love that song. I think that it's funny. At the same time, it's poignant. And it really captures this moment that we're in with the restrictions that we're all living under and how that's affecting our relationships. But it sort of takes it on in a really funny way. And I think it's a beautiful song. And yeah, I just love the song. First time I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, that is such a great song.
You loved it so much, you wanted to play it. And so my first reaction was, they have a Facebook page, go there and send them a message and saying, hey, what are the chords? And, you got nervous. So I was like, I'll do it. Haha,
Dun, dun.
Yeah, so I hopped on Instagram Messenger because Jomo had reached out in the past when I, sent a post out about self-quarantine. And I just asked him, I was like, hey, would it be possible to send the chords to self-quarantine? I totally understand if the answer is no, because he is a working musician, and I would get if that would be like something that he wanted, the information.
It's intellectual property.
Yeah, so he very well could have said no, and it would have been totally cool. But he like messaged back the next day, is like, "What's your email address?" Sent it to him, and then he emailed the chords to the song, and the professor here has been learning that song ever since.
I have. I've been trying real hard. It was so nice of Jomo to do that and to do it as quickly as he did. So thank you so much, Jomo, if you happen to be listening to this at some point. And I've been working on the song now. It has a couple of chords that I cannot play.
Tell folks the chords.
So the chords include a B major chord and a B minor chord.
What makes them difficult for you to play?
They are bar chords. And so a bar chord is where you use your index finger to essentially press down all of the from the top to the bottom of the fret. So all of the strings, all 6 strings.
Of an upper fret, and then your other fingers are making the notes on the lower frets.
Right, exactly. And I just have never been able to physiologically get my body to do that.
Tiny fingers.
I do have pretty short, stubby fingers. So it has been a challenge. But I've been playing guitar probably for... I don't know, like, how old am I? I'm almost 47, so I've been playing guitar for 25 years, I'd say. And I've never been able to play a bar chord, and I definitely have tried a lot. So I just have, over that 25 years, figured out ways to sort of, like, cheat my way through songs that have B and B minor chords in them. So... I'm working on a cheat for a Jomo song, and of course I will not be performing this in front of an audience other than of my family and friends, and maybe I perform it in front of Tim all the time. But
is there a chance maybe at some point in the future, not necessarily with this song, but could we get you singing at some point?
Well, you've asked me that, and I've said no. I can see that you're going to keep asking me, and at some point I might say yes.
Okay. 50 no's and a yes is yes. No.
That is so creepy. Was that
Family Guy gag?
Oh, I thought it was Sean Connery.
Well, it was. It was like a Bond clip, and somebody doing a Sean Connery impression. It's like, yes. And one was like, no, yes, no, yes. Okay. 50 no's and a yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe someday.
We'll see if I pester you enough. But regardless, though, as you said, Jomo Edwards from Jomo and the Possum Posse did not have to do that, did not have to reach out. I mean, that is, as you said, his intellectual property, and he would have had every right to say no, because, at the end of the day, who am I? But he did it. That is an awfully damn cool thing to do. And
it turned out, because I did try to listen to the song and figure it out, a few times, and I wasn't able to figure it out. And now knowing what the chords are, I'm like, oh, of course I didn't figure it out, because it has an unusual chord in it.
Well, you said the F chord, that there is another way to play it without having to do the bar thing of having your index finger on an upper chord. But I think you said the tough part for you that you've not been able to, and don't think you will be able to do like the song, is the bridge.
Right. Yeah, which is the B minor.
Yeah, so, but at the end of the day, Jomo and the Possum Posse, just listen to these guys. They should be big. I'm sorry, they're a great band. They should, I should be turning on a country music station and hearing Jomo and the Possum Posse on there.
Tim, when's the last time you turned on a country music station?
Back in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay, so you
and
don't...
Toby Keith was on there, so probably they're like, I don't want to be on the country music station.
Yeah, I would imagine that there's some stations out there like WDVX out of La Follette, Tennessee, that would probably play Jomo and the Possum Posse.
Yeah.
You know, local independent stations, NPR affiliates in the South. You know, there are some... WDVX is another... Oh, I already said WDV. WNCW is the other one that they likely get played on quite a bit.
101.3, the Eagle... No, I don't know. But, yeah.
Which is, you know, a huge problem with the vertical and horizontal integration of media, is the lack of local stations that choose their own playlists. And so, you know, that's why it's, you know, it's great for everybody to get as much exposure as possible.
Yeah, and, you know, if also, too, it's like, yeah, my mindset when it comes to radio is probably way outdated anyway, because... Do people really listen to the radio that much anymore in terms of seriously listening to it? I'm there to enjoy the music and not just having something on in the background while you're working on your car in the garage or you're working at a store. You know, do people really listen to the radio? And I don't think so anymore.
I think it depends on whether they have a good local radio station. I mean, if you've got a good local station that has shows that you enjoy listening to, you listen to the radio.
Yeah, I just have not lived in a town yet.
Portland has several local radio stations.
Well, that I
Let's
want to
try 'em
listen
out.
to. That I want to
Let's
listen
try
to.
them out. We'll try them out.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, we got Spotify, this.
But we should... Everybody has, like, a couple favorite shows on KBOO and a couple, like, things they like to listen to on X-Ray when it's not being sexist and misogynistic and stuff. Racist.
Wow. That's some pent-up anger there.
No, I'm just reporting what has been...
happening there?
in the community. Yeah, since... but in response to that, and a bunch of DJs left, female, women of color left the station. And there have been some changes since then, and I haven't really heard what the deal is at this point. But, I mean, that's another demonstration of why local radio is so important, because they actually can have meaningful labor relations, and, you know, it's a functioning part of the community, and there's community accountability for it.
Yeah, but, you know, when it comes to radio, though, it's just like, it's like maybe, I don't know, it's like part of it is like archaic, you know, it's an archaic form of communication now, compared, you know, with all the technology we have in our cars now to be able to listen to whatever music we want without having to do, like in the 90s, have like CD systems built in your trunk that plays in your speaker or anything like that. Now, you know, like in your car, you just hook up your phone and boom, you got the world of music right in your hands, you know, so it's like, you don't need radio as much. And even then, you know, if you do listen to something, like if you like listening to NPR on occasion, there's an app for that, you know.
I think you're not going to convince me that local radio stations are not important, because there are places where the thing to do is listen to the radio, because the radio is of such high quality. It's a curated, like, one thing you don't get with having access to billions of songs all at the same time is you don't get curated people you trust because you know them, because you've been listening to them for 10 years,
yeah,
who are curating for you music and other entertainment.
It was the Telecommunications Act of 1996, I believe, that did that allowed companies to buy up as many, you know, radio or television stations that they wanted, which led us today to having like literally 3 or 4 companies that own all of them, which, you know, it's totally healthy and has done nothing wrong for our country whatsoever. You know, but let's, you know, Yeah, talk about music, Jomo and the Possum Posse. Just listen to them. I mean, they put out great music, and like I said, in a couple weeks we are going to be talking about the only album of theirs that we have not discussed on the show, Local Motive, as one of our date night double choices. So
that's right, and we will be listening to Jomo the same. Our double for that date night will be the Hill Williams Hill Yeah. So another great local band.
Maybe another choice, or we'll talk about that afterwards. But
oh my gosh, Tim is trying to change the musical choices on me without my consent.
But there's a reason why. But regardless, Jomo we're definitely going to be reviewing that, and like with any review, we'll give our honest opinion. I'm not going to say like when the two albums we've released that we've reviewed of his before. I mean, there have been tracks that we've liked more than others, and we're going to be honest. But they're a great band. They're a great band, and I want to do what I can to support them.
Yeah.
Yep. So
love them.
Yep. Now, as we speak, tomorrow is going to be the day I get my first vaccine shot.
Woohoo! And I am fully vaccinated and have waited the 2 weeks, so I am now 90% immune to the known COVID variant.
Yes, the news did indicate that, folks in your situation, unless they were in a public situation where closely knit people, you don't have to worry about having a mask outside as much anymore. But
there's great controversy about this. I've seen a lot of talking between people on social media about whether to continue to wear the mask outside, even though the CDC has said you don't have to wear the mask outside if you have been vaccinated. Does that send the wrong signal to other people who might see them? So you're going to have anti-maskers not wearing masks, vaccinated people not wearing masks, and unvaccinated anti-vaxxer people wearing masks, and it's going to lead to confusion. Now, this is what people say, and this is going to discourage people from wearing masks. And it has been shown, I think, over the last year that mask wearing can make a huge difference.
I'll tell you, for me, I can only tell you what I'm going to do at this point. And, regardless of the vaccine, if I am not comfortable outside among a group of people, I'm going to wear the mask. And regardless of my employer, if I'm sick at that employer, I'm going to wear a mask. If I see that they don't have the cleanliest of practices at that employer, because as we've discussed on the show before, there are plenty of employers in this country who have done the absolute bare minimum legally to protect their employees and their customers from this pandemic. So, who knows what situation I could be working in. So I'm going to protect myself and, be as comfortable as I can. And I don't care if that gives me any looks, because, screw that. But I think of people like that Tucker Carlson guy who had the actual unmitigated gall to tell his audience that if they see some kids with a mask on, to call CPS on those parents. That is the height of irresponsibility. And it's just like, what is it going to take for the news media to be held responsible for their actions? I mean, that's... I
right. And this, so Tim, what you're getting upset about now was caused by the consolidation of the media, at least in part.
Yeah.
So, it all comes full circle. And again, why I think local radio stations and local television stations, I think that's important.
Well, I mean, what we have now is simply not working and is killing people. So, so something needs to occur there. But me getting upset about that little bitch Tucker Carlson is not going to solve the world's problems. He's not going to go away, even though he should. He should be arrested for, the COVID denialism. And then now, I mean, how many parents are going to have to worry about their kids getting attacked or something like that, or just having to deal with unnecessary nonsense?
I mean, yeah, we live in the Portland bubble, And, like, it's a very liberal here. And
libertarian, not liberal. Let's be honest. It's for as much as Portland has the reputation of being like a socialist wasteland, it is not that at all. It's a lot of like limousine liberals live here, if that makes sense.
But as compared to living where I used to live or where you used to live, it's a very different experience as, you know, just anybody. And so this mask wearing thing, I mean, it could really be dangerous if Tucker Carlson is telling people to call CPS on people for having their masks on. Like, that's very problematic. It's not going to be a problem for us in Portland. Like, I don't think anybody's going to call the cops on somebody in Portland, but...
Yeah, because the people that would be watching Tucker Carlson, at least in this area, aren't very subtle, and, you know, you kind of know who those people are. You know, they're the ones with the trucks that are clearly indications of, like, problems with genitalia size, with huge American flags off the bumpers or something like that. Or
Confederate flags.
Confederate flags, too, yeah, because, you know, nothing says freedom like the Confederate flag, you know. But, so tomorrow I'll be getting my first vaccine shot, and then in 2 weeks I'll be getting the second one, and... maybe I will take a photo of that card. I mean, that seems, you know, but that does seem silly because it seems like everybody does it, taking the shot with their vaccine card.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I think I did a picture of me with the Band-Aid or something.
Yeah. Maybe
I think it is noteworthy. I think you should post it when you get it.
Or something. Yeah, to encourage people to get it, because not like we have
just so your friends will know that you're getting protected.
Yes. You can see me again.
Yes, so that everybody could see Tim again.
Because I was so super social before. But
I'll feel so great. Like, almost everybody in my life has been vaccinated already. And so I will feel so, like, my folks are vaccinated already. My sister and brother-in-law are vaccinated already. And when you get vaccinated, there'll just be lots of people in my life that are vaccinated. And I like that.
Okay. Well, let's talk about something positive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We have bullet points here we're going to talk about. Well, you wanted to bring up stuff now, since I am looking at getting fully vaccinated here. You were talking about positive stuff you wanted to do.
Oh.
Afterwards.
Oh, after we're all vaccinated and everything, things get back to being able to travel, being able to go out to eat, being able to go to the gym or your dance studio on a regular basis. These are, you know, all the big categories of things that I'm really looking forward to getting back to.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed working remotely, so I'm not looking all that forward to going back to in-person work.
Yeah, you'll miss the massages.
I'll miss the massages. I'll miss having, like, all my food with me at all times. That's the biggest thing about going to work for me, is that I can never, like, get my act together to pack my lunch the way I want to. And then I'm at work and I'm hungry, and, you know, you end up eating, like, something that's not very good.
They don't have a good cafeteria at the Aubrey building?
No, they don't. We don't have a good cafeteria. Now, where I used to work, at another college, we had an amazing cafeteria. That was a joy.
Teachers ate free?
Huh?
The professors ate free?
No.
Or
no, you had to pay, but it was quite, it was affordable. It was subsidized by the school, and it was really good.
Cool.
Yeah. But why was I talking about the cafeteria food?
About working.
Going back to work. Yeah. I definitely have gotten into the rhythm of working at home, and it makes sense for how I have my life structured. I mean, what's so interesting is that this pandemic has been going on for so long, and we've been so restricted for so long, that this feels now like ordinary, regular life, and it seems like big changes to, be able to go out to the movies or to be able to take a trip or that feels like gonna be really exciting the first time all of that happens.
It'll be It'll be exciting, yes, but I would also be a little hesitant myself, especially in the early going stages, just how callous watching your fellow man act towards, people that work at essential places or, public facing places like a movie theater, and just seeing how, people in there have had to deal with a lot of the nonsense and the anger that, the people have had to deal with because of all this. But I'm looking forward to getting out there too. I mean, like I mentioned, like being able to watch a movie in a movie theater again. Facebook reminded me a couple of days ago that it was 2 years ago on the 25th that I saw opening night Avengers Endgame, the most beautiful experience I ever had watching a movie, because the final fight scene, the portal scene, everybody was cheering like it was a sporting event, and it was just a great feeling watching that, just having everybody happy. At watching all of that and just being able to be with the crowd to do that. Having professional wrestling tour again. I mean, I would love to see AEW live. I mean, just like wouldn't it be awesome to see Orange Cassidy do his thing?
It would be really fun. It would be really fun to go see AEW. I would love to see Hikaru Shida. Mm-hmm. And some of the other ladies of AEW, their special heels section, right?
Yeah, they. That's the thing with AEW. They do need to work on their women's roster. It's not that they don't have talented women on their roster. They just have not done a good job so far of building up that roster. They do have one star in Hikaru Shida, a Japanese star. Because when they started out, they had a number of women wrestlers from Japan who wrestle, I guess it's called the Joshi style, kind of a more hard-hitting style than American audiences are used to. But the AEW did drop the ball in their women's division by not trying to build a star. It just for the longest time, it seemed like the women's matches were almost inconsequential, in my opinion, which is unfortunate because, I think of someone like Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose should be the most dominant force in that division, yet she's not. She's been having up and down pushes. I don't get why she's dominant one month and then is easily defeatable or making silly mistakes the next. I mean, she's someone that I would have built the division around,
Well, do you think there's sexism involved in that choice? Or misogyny, I guess?
I wouldn't go that far because of the people involved. What I would say, though, is that they're not giving them chances that they would the men. A lot of men are able to go out there and fail a lot more.
So isn't that sexist?
That is, but it's a different, in my opinion, a different kind. It's bad. I'm not trying to say it's okay or trying to rationalize it. It is very much bad. It's comparable to a mistake that Richard Donner made in Lethal Weapon. When he first came up with that movie with the character Murtaugh played by Danny Glover, he wasn't thinking of a black man for that role. He was thinking of a white guy until his casting director says, "What about Danny Glover?" And he thought, "I didn't think of that. I'm dumb for not thinking of that." And I think
don't you think that's racist? Don't you think the reason he didn't think of him was because he was racist?
I don't think it was because he was racist. I think it's that the systemic racism in this country has made it to where a person in his position, and in my position, a white man, doesn't necessarily think about that. So I'm not going to say Richard Donner's a racist. I don't think he's a racist, but ignorance of the law still means you're guilty of it if you break the law, So was it a racist act? Sure, and the fact that Richard Donner was very much open about that fact that he didn't consider it at first, and it was a big learning experience for him. That was important.
Yes.
So I don't think he is a racist, but was that him just going along with the systemic racism in this country and not even considering other options? Very much so. He learned from it, and that's the important thing, which is why I don't want to call him a racist. I don't think he is a
right.
So
and I'm a little bit trying to normalize the idea that if you live in a racist system and you aren't actively fighting against that system pretty much all the time, you're racist. So I don't think of that word maybe as bad as other people do, because I think it's prevalent.
That's the thing. I mean, my when you say that, I mean, my line of thought is, like either former Apple Store managers or, something like a Proud Boy, just someone when you think racist, you have an image in your head, whereas unfortunately, most of the racists out there, to your point, are like the moderates that Martin Luther King talked about.
Who are just unthinking, who
don't want to push the boat,
or they're just thoughtless about the issue. I mean, as much as Black Lives Matter has been in the news, and as much as there is this sort of culture war happening, I would say the majority of American humans do not care about any of that, and are instead interested in what's going on with the Kardashians.
Yep.
And those are the people, I think, who don't get out of having to own their racism just because they didn't intend to be racist.
Yes, again, I want to make it clear that and we're probably just parsing words here, I guess.
Yes,
more
I'm
than
sure
anything.
We are. I'm sure we are.
Because, I very much acknowledge that the fact that he didn't think of a black person for that role is very much problematic. But, the fact that, he learned from that and very much spoke about that, it's like, was it a racist act? Yes. Because, he's... As a white man, he benefited from systemic racism. Just like as a white man, I benefit from systemic racism, sadly. And it's up to white men to do what they can in their own limited time, on their time on Earth, to try and call attention to that.
Or just to listen. And believe.
Yes.
What other people are saying.
Yes.
To seek out and listen to and believe people who don't look like you.
Yes. Do you want to hear about the plight of black people in this country from a Tucker Carlson or from an actual black person who can tell you what's really happening here? Mm-hmm. It's I mean, just like we discussed with the Chauvin trial, there's not enough listening going on. People have it set in their head, whatever line of thinking, like the people that were going to be against George Floyd no matter what have already determined in their head that, that cop was framed or the jury made the decision because they were scared. Not even just taking a moment to think, what if that was your son in George Floyd's spot? What if that was your daughter? Would you accept a cop doing that? A guy handcuffed and other cop it's like, even if George Floyd was the worst criminal, when he's handcuffed and clearly subdued and not moving around, you don't need your knee on his neck for 9 minutes killing the guy. And I wouldn't care if it's a black man or a white woman that has the knee on the neck. That cop deserves to be in jail.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no question about that. The only question is why that hasn't happened in every case of a killing of the police of an unarmed or insufficiently armed
qualified
black
immunity. and prosecutors that will go out of their way to defend, police and, essentially
because they depend on them for their convictions.
Yes, and make sure grand juries can't, like qualified, like we discussed the other day, qualified immunity should be one of the things that goes immediately.
Yeah. Which they recently did away with qualified immunity in the state of something I can't recall. A state I can't recall.
Yeah. It's,
Maybe California. I can't remember.
Yeah, because any time force is used by someone in a position of power, they should be that use of force should be scrutinized. And if it is determined that person went above and beyond the scope and abused their powers, the person in power should have the harshest of penalties put against them. And this whole, because you looked at the video of Derek Chauvin brutally murdering George Floyd, and that look on Derek Chauvin's face was the look of somebody who felt he could get away with it. He knew he could get away with it. And when they announced the verdict, he looked shocked.
Yes, he did look shocked. He looked incredibly shocked.
Yes.
Which is the shame of our country.
Yes, that, how many stories do we have to hear about police fudging reports, about police, editing body cam footage before we realize that police are very much human, and while there are indeed good people in law enforcement that are doing a good job and trying to be a positive force, there are also some very bad people doing very bad things. It's just this whole idea in this country of, if you criticize the cops in any way, shape, or form, you are totally against them, makes no sense at all. Just no sense, because, it's like, if, people will commit crimes and there will be legitimate crimes, murder, robbery, stuff like that, and those people the people that commit those should be dealt with. It's just, it should be fair for a black person, and it should be a black unemployed man should have the same chance at justice as like a Bill Gates or a Jeff Bezos or something like that, and that's not the case.
That's absolutely not the case. I mean, that's laughable at this point in our society.
Yeah. We were trying to end the show on a positive note here.
I know, right? What happened? We got derailed by something. It was probably me. I apologize.
Yeah. Well,
the positivity is
life is slowly opening back up again. Who knows? Because with the variants going about, who knows how long it will take to get back up to, not having shutdowns or anything like that. But, life is slowly getting back to some level of what we consider normal, and that's good.
And I think there's something about spring, like, the spring effect on our mood and effect on our energy levels is a real thing. And so we're all sort of experiencing our sap rising and getting that sap flowing in our veins. And we're very anxious, right, to get back out and to do fun things, because that's what spring and summer are all about. But,
yes,
we got to keep in mind that it's not time yet.
Yeah. Pretty soon, we'll be back at Rooster Rock.
Yay!
That'll be fun. So, we talked about some heavy stuff here, but overall, life is going good, I think. Overall in the country. I think some of...
It certainly feels better than that 4-year-long nightmare that we had with Trump. Like, every day was a nightmare with Trump. Like, I feel so much better knowing that Joe Biden is in the White House, and that, if we can get rid of the filibuster, we've got a chance to make some law. If we get rid of Joe Manchin. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's like if the Democrats have a long history of getting, you know, getting defeat from the clutches of victory.
Yep.
And it's looking like this may be the case now. There are some signs that I think Joe Biden learned some lessons of some of the failures of the Obama administration in terms of how they dealt with Republicans, because Obama, from first to last, still tried to have some common ground with them. And as we see, they're petulant babies. The ones in Washington, you know, are, yeah, just, they're not doing their jobs in good faith. And I think at this point, the Democrats, including Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, need to recognize that and need to do what they can to make sure, because if they don't get rid of the filibuster and enact the Voting Rights Act, you know, if 2022 occurs and Republicans somehow find their way back in Congress, good luck. I mean, especially with Texas picking up a couple more congressional districts, with Republicans still in control of like over 30 state houses and whatnot, so they get to control districting. If we don't have a National Voting Rights Act that deals with stuff like gerrymandering and whatnot, you know, it's like this is just going to be a temporary reprieve until we get back to the insanity of the terrorists that are the GOP.
I couldn't agree more, Tim.
Yeah. So what we will do in the meantime is, one, we will wrap up the show. So we do thank you all for listening this week, and we definitely encourage you to check us out again. Our shows come out on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and occasionally we'll have bonus stuff. I mean, the fact that we have a podcast, we can put stuff on any day of the week, any time of the week, anytime we want.
Yes, we can. We can do all that.
We can do all that. But right now, Wednesdays and Saturdays are our main show dates. And now that we are with Anchor, which is owned by Spotify, and have the ability to have ads on the show and to make some money.
Make some money.
Make some money, baby. You know, it's you know, I'm definitely excited for, you know, what we can do with the show, and for stuff coming up like the Date Night Double. Also, Jennifer Lumley, who's been on the show before, not only in the book club, but on one previous episode here. She and I are going to be doing something once a month, approximately, a little project that we're going to be doing that's comic book based, but based around the villains from the Marvel movies. So the first one we are going to kind of dive into is the first story arc of the antagonist Obadiah Stane of the first of Iron Man, the first movie in the MCU. We're going to look at his first story arc in the comics and kind of compare and contrast to see what the movies took from that character, what they did not, what works, what didn't, stuff like that.
That sounds so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you've heard Jennifer on the show before. You know her knowledge with comics. She has her own YouTube show as well, and definitely, if there's someone that knows her comics, it's Jen. So, being able to, you know, kind of pick her brain on all things Marvel is definitely going to be fun and exciting. And I know with our Date Night Double, we're going to be having some fun stuff there. Also, a little later this year, I believe the latest and final season of F is for Family is going to be coming out on Netflix, and the Reverend and I will be doing a review show based on that for the new episodes when they come out. But I think with Netflix too, though,
they come out at once.
They come out at once, so we'll figure out a way to talk about the new season. But you know, we got a lot of stuff planned in the works here for ways to entertain you good folks, and yeah, I mean, over 3.5 years now of shows. That is amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah. All for this. And I have a new advertising campaign out. Listen to Friends Talking Nerdy or go fuck yourself.
That's right.
Yes, so that was fun with my most interesting man in the world pose. So yeah, we got a lot of things in the works here going forward. Later this year, we will have the Battle for State Supremacy 3.
I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited about who we're going to get to judge.
Yes.
And the whole process. And being able to vindicate my state of Tennessee, I'm very excited about that.
Yes, because kind of pulling the curtain back and talking honestly here, when it comes to the Battle for State Supremacy 2, we did a good job at promoting the poll, not the episode. And that was a big failing there. Mm-hmm. And that's just like missed opportunity. And, so for the Battle for State Supremacy 3, we're going to be doing things different. Like we mentioned on the episode where we had Pixie as a guest, the plan is to get 3 people from the podcast world to be judges to hear our arguments. And we're going to make some adjustments there too, kind of use some of the rules that we use for the Greatest Movie Ever Championship Tournament. So I think people are going to have 2 minutes to, discuss their choice. And instead of discussing songs from the particular state we're going to be choosing, we're just going to be picking artists and then, explaining some songs in their catalog, why they represent that state the best. Which I think will be better. And then the fact that we have judges means that we'll have, 1, intelligent people, and 2, people that will actually follow the instructions in terms of hearing the arguments out and making their choice based on the parameters we gave them, not out of some sense of tribalism. Because like all we proved here with Texas is that you put some shiny keys with a Texas symbol on it, they're gonna go ooh and go for it, which explains the noise they make when they vote for Ted Cruz. So I, because I thought too, like the more I talk about the thing, I just wanted to make sure that if Tracy does listen to this, and she says she doesn't listen to the show, but my frustration does not come with her winning. It comes with the fact that it was kind of a failed opportunity on all our parts, because we sure as hell promoted that poll really well.
Yep. We did.
Yeah.
So we are learning lessons all the time.
That's the beauty of the show, So I am 100% playing up the quote unquote controversial ending. I'm having fun with that. Mm-hmm. So it's good natured fun here that is going to set us up for the ultimate showdown, where the true winner, me, will be determined.
Yes, we're just going to keep doing the same thing until Tim finally wins.
Yeah. Well, because I won the original Battle for State Supremacy. I won the Greatest Movie Ever Championship Tournament with Planet of the fucking Apes. Yes, I beat Star Wars with that movie.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know. It's famous. Mm-hmm. It goes down in the lore of FTN.
Yes, and I will retain... I will be a 2-time champion. Mm-hmm. I will be a 2-time champion because... Bowling for fucking soup, people! Come on!
Well, she has a chance to reconsider her choices.
Because one thing I forgot to do with the Battle for State Supremacy too, the goal was to do different states and not the same state each and every time. Because like with Michigan, there were only X amount of big name music artists that were there, and the same could be said for most states. So just wanted to be able to switch it up. So we're definitely going to be switching it up for number 3.
Oh, are we? We're going to get assigned states?
Yes.
Are we going to put all 50 states in a hat and draw them?
No, because what we do not want is someone getting like California or Washington and then someone else getting North Dakota. It has to be fair, and it has to be 3 states that I think would reasonably be considered comparable.
Okay.
In terms of, like population density or something like that. So again, it's like, would Rhode Island face off against Louisiana? Well, not really, but like Rhode Island against Delaware, that might be an interesting choice and more fair.
Okay.
You're like, fuck Delaware.
If you say so.
Something like that. But we got a lot of plans in the works, like I mentioned. And thanks to Anchor, there's more stuff we can do with the show now, too. Yep. So, just hang tight.
Just keep listening. Even if you don't like it now, what we're saying is you're going to like it in the future. So you just keep listening out there.
Damn right.
And if you do like it, it'll be just the same.
All right. So I think we'll wrap it up. Any more thoughts you want to talk about?
Nope, I just wish everyone a beautiful and wonderful pink moon for the next day or so, and have a great week.
Okay, and remember, Oochie.
Subscribe to Friends Talking Nerdy on iTunes, the Google Play Music Store, as well as Spotify. Remember to support Friends Talking Nerdy on Patreon. Goodbye, darling.